What is theoretical sampling in grounded theory and other qualitative research? Today we are going to dive into this question by exploring the origin of this approach and distinguishing theoretical sampling from other types of sampling. By the end of this video, you'll fully understand the tradition of the term, why theoretical sampling is different, and of course, how you can apply it in your own research. And now, without further ado, welcome to Shribe. To grasp what we mean by theoretical sampling, we need to go back for a minute to the origin of the grounded theory methodology. In the 1960s, sociologists Barney Glaser and Anselm Strauss developed the grounded theory approach together. Their aim was to encounter the prevailing quantitative paradigm and its deductive logic with a structured method for inductive theory building based on qualitative data. The goal of grounded theory is not to test predefined hypotheses and thereby review or refine existing theories. Instead, its main task is generating new theories based on empirical data. Next, we need to understand what sampling involves. A sample is a selection of people or objects that represents a larger population and provides information about it. Samples play a crucial role in empirical social research, as they provide access to the data to be analyzed for a given research project. Theoretical insights are drawn from the results based on the investigation of the sample. These insights are generally intended to be valid beyond the scope of the sample itself. That's why choosing the right sample is so important. When writing the methodology section of your paper or thesis, you should always make a strong case for how your sample is composed and why this composition is advantageous for your research objective. The definition I just mentioned is influenced by a core principle of quantitative research, the generalizability of statistical relationships from a small sample to a larger group of people or objects. Let's say 100 kindergarten teachers fill out a survey and the results are analyzed. These results are often interpreted in a way that makes statements about all kindergarten teachers represented by the sample. In quantitative research designs, we can broadly distinguish between random samples and non-probabilistic samples. An ideal random sample consists of a group randomly selected from all persons or objects belonging to the total population. Implementing this is challenging, as you likely cannot access all kindergarten teachers in one country or the world. Therefore, systematic or arbitrary sampling techniques also exist, where you might include individuals or objects in the sample that you simply have access to. In qualitative research, we need different sampling techniques. Here, randomness is not crucial, but rather the researcher's judgment. In purposeful sampling, cases or individuals are selected who, in the researcher's view, offer a particularly high degree of information richness in relation to the research subject. In snowball sampling, an initial case or expert is identified. Based on the knowledge or context of this individual, the researcher then gains access to further interesting cases and experts. This approach can be helpful because the researcher alone might never have noticed these cases or gained access without a facilitator. The sampling methods mentioned so far have one thing in common. The sampling occurs before data analysis. And that brings us back to grounded theory and theoretical sampling. For grounded theory to function, data analysis and sampling must work closely together. Since there is no theory at the beginning of the process, you start with the typical purposeful sampling and collect data from an organization or individuals based on the most important criteria for you. Then, you perform typical steps of the grounded theory approach. I won't go into these steps here. Please refer to other tutorials on my channel. After performing open, selective, and maybe theoretical coding according to Glaser, or open, axial, and selective coding according to Strauss, you have identified one or more central theoretical concepts. You may already suspect connections between them or have identified subthemes. The fact is, your theoretical idea is still in its infancy. To solidify it, you need new data. This is where theoretical sampling comes into play. This time, you make your selection deliberately based on the theory you have developed at this point. What does that mean exactly? Let's say you're developing a theory that explains the factors influencing the identity formation of employees in the context of working from home. After your initial interviews with employees, you might have found that the characteristics of their workspace technology are central to their identity building. However, you don't know exactly what about the use of technology is so crucial for identity formation. Could it be the type of hardware, consisting of laptops and smartphones, or the software tools, or how they are used? To learn more, you now select new individuals who have extensive knowledge in this particular area. This could, for example, be members of the IT department of the company. You could also interview the same individuals again, but this time ask targeted questions about the specific theoretical connection you want to better understand. After this round, your mini-theory may already be taking shape, but there's still something you don't know. For example, why must employees work with technology that is outdated and, from the company's perspective, actually has a negative impact on their identity formation? To find the answer, there's no way around speaking with decision makers. To complete your theory, you finally interview employees in management positions. Now, before we get to a possible round 3 in this example and the stopping rule of theoretical sampling, let me quickly ask you to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more of this type of content. Now, your mini theory looks quite solid, but have you overlooked something? After speaking again with 2 employees, they couldn't tell you anything new. Your theory seems accurate. This is your cue to stop data collection. Strauss and Corbin further specified theoretical sampling in their seminal book. They distinguish between 4 stages: open, relational, variational, and discriminate sampling. These stages provide more structure and define individual steps, which can be particularly helpful at the beginning. Note that the recommendations by Strauss and Corbin work well only with the coding techniques they also propose. That means open, axial, and selective coding. After Barney Glaser and Anselm Strauss had a bit of an argument, 2 interpretations of grounded theory developed, one by Glaser and one other by Strauss. Make sure you understand the differences and align your work with one of these interpretations. If you want to learn more about the dispute between the 2 and the differences between the Glaserian and Straussian grounded theory approach, you can watch more about it in my tutorial linked right here on the screen.